All right, man, peace. So there has recently been some controversy due to the revelation that all-time great or arguably all-time great quarterback Tom Brady is going to release a reality show in order to promote his line of TB12 nutrition and sportswear. Mr. Shannon Sharp has an issue with Tom Brady for now deciding to open up his personal life in order to promote his brand. Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Tom Brady and the Patriots don't play the Titans until Saturday, but he's already had a very busy week. First, Brady refuted an ESPN report that there was a rift between him and Bill Belichick. And now the normally private Brady will have a documentary series about his personal life called Tom vs. Time, released later this month. Let's take a look at the trailer.
There's a warrior spirit about me. I'm always in competition with myself.
You know, I have to say, I don't think I've ever met anyone that loves to do something as much as he loves football.
Let me say this. Did you hear what his wife said? She said that she's never met anyone who loves to do something as much as he loves football. That's why I always tell brothers on this channel that, you know, for your own personal salvation, that you should try to hone in on the gifts that the Most High gave you, whatever they may be, whatever you love to do, and try to monetize those gifts. As long as you're not breaking any laws, you're not breaking the laws of the Most High. That's how you achieve happiness in this life, in the fleshly life. By taking the gifts that the Most High gave you and trying to capitalize on them and trying to sharpen them as much as possible. And using those gifts to make yourself happy, be a productive member of your family and of your quote-unquote community. That's what life is about. That's when you see people who are truly happy. When people are not pursuing their gifts, and everybody has gifts, whatever they may be, when people do not have the focus, the insight, the motivation to pursue and perfect their gifts, that's when they run around trying to quote unquote hate on other people. Because no one who is trying to perfect themselves has the time to worry about what other people are doing. So all a quote unquote hater is someone who is not taking the time out to perfect themselves. They're wasting their own life.
You don't want to make sacrifices for your sport, but when you have a family, you do. When I see myself out there, I feel like, man, I still do this and I do it better than I've ever done it. So why should I stop?
Shannon, do you like this idea?
Really, Skip?
Yeah, really.
Now he wants to offer us a glimpse in the side of Tom Brady. Now, why is that, Skip? Can you tell the people at home why you think Tom Brady wants to?
No, you tell them, because you're going to be wrong.
You know why?
Yeah.
What's he selling, Skip? People will always open up if they pitching some joint. Got a book, got a movie, in this case, a docuseries.
Well, Shannon Sharp, remember that the next time that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is on your show and you decide that you want to kiss his ass because you think that he was involved in the so-called civil rights movement. Remember that. Because no one is more inclusive. No one cordons off their personal life more than Mr. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. One of the black male athletes that you genuflect before whenever he comes on your show and make him out to be some living race relations legend. Let me say this. There's nothing wrong with what Tom Brady is doing. Everyone promotes themselves when they're trying to sell something. There's nothing wrong with trying to sell something as long as you're not doing anything illegal, as long as what you're selling is not meant to hurt someone.
Really, Tom Brady? Now you want to tell him you spent the better part of 18 years being private. It wasn't until you started trying to promote these health and wellness centers, the TB12 method. Now all of a sudden you want to open up. I want to show you what's in my refrigerator. See, I got avocados. I got cherry tart juice.
Well, that's normally what people do when they're business owners and when they're trying to advertise their business, Shannon. Maybe if you had the mindset of an owner and not of a worker, then you'd be a little bit more understanding in regards to what Tom Brady's methods are. I don't believe that Tom Brady creating this Facebook show to try to amplify his brand is taking any money out of your pocket. So there seems to be some extra issue here with Shannon towards Tom Brady. Look at Joy's face. Joy is all happy. Why? Being the agent of chaos that she is, she loves to see cattiness amongst men.
Really? Ugh. First of all, Tom Brady, every great athlete is in competition with himself. He's competing against a younger version of himself.
Every successful person is in competition with themselves, not just athletes. Every day you're supposed to wake up trying to figure out how to be better than you were the day before.
As he ages.
Don't compare other athletes to this guy.
I'm
This is
saying
the greatest
all
ever.
great athletes compete with a younger version of themselves as they age because that's what they're compared to, Joy. The numbers that they put up in their youth. LeBron, people are looking at LeBron is like, hold on, how? Because they see.
No, I'm not saying how. I already know how. Anyone could look at LeBron and see what he's doing in order to maintain the proficiency levels that he's at. Nothing against the brother. He's a great athlete, all-time great athlete. But Stevie Wonder could see what he's doing. You don't get to be 33 and have a lower body fat percentage than you had when you were 23. Okay? You just don't have that. You don't put on 25 pounds of muscle after 30 years old. Once again, when he first came back to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2014, there was a very noticeable and precipitous drop-off in his production, in his athleticism. And then he takes a 2-week period off in Miami and comes back and looks like the Incredible Hulk. Something is clearly rotten in Denmark with him. But, I mean, hey, he's a modern athlete. I'm sure that many people will say, as they've said to me in the past, that most of these athletes are using. I get it. But when you're a LeBron James and you're worth 9 figures, you can get state-of-the-art stuff. And I always say this, and cats be laughing, the man's name was on the biogenesis ledger, okay? Along with Jameer Nelson and Alex Rodriguez and a lot of other guys.
They see the younger version of what he's doing. They say, well, hold on. This guy is doing the same thing at 33.
Wait, are you putting LeBron James in the same sentence with Tom Brady? Seriously?
Skip, stop.
No, you stop.
Stop it, Skip.
The one guy's won 5 Super Bowls, the other guy's lost 5 finals.
So I just want to make sure.
Well, look, I will say this. I do believe that LeBron is a peer of Tom Brady in regards to this era of athletes. I don't think that is a poor comparison by Shannon. LeBron is the best in his sport. Tom Brady's the best in his sport. So there's nothing wrong with that. But when Skip thinks of Tom Brady, he thinks of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant type. And that certainly is understandable as well because of Tom Brady's mental approach. Tom Brady doesn't fold mentally like LeBron does. Now, many people will say, well, when Tom Brady was under fire by the New York Giants defensive line, he did seem to fold up. Well, anybody when under constant pressure by 270-pound men who are coming to try to knock you out, their approach is going to be a tad bit different. But he still was able to make the game competitive and probably should have won both games if not for miracles at the end of those games. In the first game, of course, you had the pass from Manning to the receiver who caught the ball on his helmet. And then in the second game, Wes Welker drops a pass that he has to catch if he's a great receiver.
Make sure, just so I'm hearing you correct. So whomever has the most titles mean they're the greater of the athletes.
In this case, yes.
So just in this case?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool enough.
You see, Skip anticipated Shannon trying to turn this into a Bill Russell, Michael Jordan thing. So he headed off at the pass. In this case, yeah. But not where you're trying to go. Next.
Cool enough. Okay.
Next.
That's ridiculous, Skip. But anyway, I've always felt that people should be them true selves, who they are. What you see is what you get with Shannon Sharpe. I was this way when I played. I'm just the way I am. I'm toning it down a little bit. I can't really turn all the way up.
Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah, if you follow me on
Facebook.
Instagram, you get.
I get crunk a little
Like, this
bit.
is like work Shannon.
Yeah. This. Okay, how about this, Skip? What you see right now is Shannon Sharpe. Now, when your boy go home, that old Shay Sharpe be on that thing. I gotta get the cut up. I get to let my hair down. I put my stocking cap on, and I get to be me. That's me. I didn't spend the better part of what you saw on the football field talking trash. Guys will tell you what you hear him say on TV. That's just how he talk to the locker room.
Well, question Shannon Sharpe. Since you're supposedly keeping it so real, keeping it 100. When you come on TV and you talk about how much you love Nicole Murphy and how much you're looking for Nicole Murphy and how you're trying to hook up with her, is that real or is that fake? When you come on TV and you try to glorify smoking Black and Miles and drinking hard liquor, even though you abstain from alcohol in real life and you don't smoke in real life, are you being real or are you being fake? I said this for a very long time, and look, I have love for the brother Shannon. To me, Shannon's like one of those guys in the barbershop, or, you know, one of those extroverted uncles that you have who just talk shit all day. He's entertaining. But for him to try to create this straw man about Tom Brady promoting his business, that Tom Brady is being fake. No, you're not being fake for promoting a business. He'd be fake if he was trying to promote an image that's not true. Now, if he's trying to promote the family life and him being dedicated to football, when in reality he doesn't work out, he does drugs, and he philanders on his wife, then you have a point. But for him to just decide to let people in on the inner workings of who he is because he wants to make himself, he wants to make his image a little bit more approachable and palatable for the masses of people who might view him as a god, there's nothing wrong with that. And for Shannon to try to come on TV and act like he keeps it so real every day, stop it, brother. Please stop. You tried to cultivate this cult of personality on the internet through social media and through this television show like you're this super pro-blackity black dude, and your woman is a white woman. All right? So just knock it off.
Might as well the edit. This is what you see, what you get. Now all of a sudden, I got a book, Joy. You want to buy this? Let me tell you something about me, Joy. You know, I'm from Glenville, Georgia. Grew up in a family of 3, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell you all that stuff because I want you to buy this coffee mug front.
Yeah, that's the same thing that your boy Kareem Abdul-Jabbar does. That's the same thing that Kareem does. So if you're going to judge Tom Brady by that standard, then judge Kareem by the same standard.
Front. And it's a bunch of bull. Fake, fake, fake. You know it and I know it. Fake.
You with a white woman. Fake, fake, fake. You're not so-called pro-black, brother. Hey, fake, fake, fake.
Fake?
Yeah.
You're saying Tom Brady is
Fake. Fake.
That's the most outrageous thing that ever
Fake.
came out of your mouth
Fake,
on live
fake,
television.
fake,
and
fake.
it's the wrongest
Fine.
thing that ever came
He
out of your
wants
mouth.
he wants to open up only after he started to pitch something.
That doesn't make you fake, brother. You need to look up the definition of fake. All right? Fake is someone who's living a life that they're not really living, who's depicting themselves as living a life that they're not really living. Fake is not opening up and allowing people to get to know you.
So what happened in year 10? Why did he open up Skip? What happened in year 15? Why did he open up Skip? Now as he starts to move past this, because I don't care what he said, he's not playing the 45. He wants to pop up these TV 12.
You were so jealous. You were
Jealous
so
of what?
resentful.
I'm picking up on a little issue between Shannon and Tom Brady as well. I don't know if I'd call it jealousy. I would say a little bit of resentment. I'll call it maybe competitive ire or competitive fervor from Shannon towards Tom Brady. Whenever you have all-time greats, they're never going to look at a fellow all-time great in the same way that a fan would, or that a casual observer would. They're going to look at them with far more scrutiny or suspicion, because a top-level athlete is trained to look at another person to look for weaknesses and not for strengths. Regular people look at people who are highly admired. They look at their strengths. A top-level athlete will look at someone else and try to discern or decipher their weaknesses. So I'm not going to quite call it jealousy on Shannon's part, but there's definitely something there in regards to his attempt at an evaluation of Tom Brady. And I'm not against trying to pick high-level figures apart. It is necessary sometimes because they do have a high level of influence on the masses. So you definitely have to look at them closely. But Shannon's platform on this issue is baseless to me.
That he's playing much later in life than you were able to sustain.
No.
Yes.
No.
I disagree with that, because if Shannon wanted to have kept playing, he could have kept playing. Shannon's body was not breaking down. He no longer wanted to, to study game film and go to the meetings. At least that's his version of the events, and I believe him, because he was a top-level athlete.
No.
Yes.
There are a lot of things you can say about Shannon Sharp.
Oh.
Jealousy is not one of them.
Okay.
Because last I checked, you look, 3 rings. Let me ask you a question, Joey. If I'd have won 5 rings, will people have any different perceptive of me? No. They're going to say I'm still loud, I'm still brash, I'm still arrogant, and all those would be true.
I agree with that. If you're going to look at the history of NFL tight ends, Shannon's probably the most successful NFL tight end in NFL history overall. When we talk about individual performance in combination with team success. So I'm not going to say that Shannon is jealous of Tom Brady per se. I would just say that there's something there in regards to Shannon's take on this issue. I believe that he has some form of resentment towards Tom Brady. Maybe he believes that Tom Brady lives in too much of a Crystal Palace. Who knows?
Condescending? Oh, yes, absolutely. So the perception is not going to change. Skip. All I'm saying is, if you're going to be who you are, be who you are. Why do people get so...
Fake?
Let me ask you this. Why did people get so upset with Tiger Woods' scandal? Because he was portraying one thing and was something entirely different.
Well, that's what fake is. Now, Tiger Woods is an example of fake. Once again, in order for you to prove your point on Tom Brady, it's not about more exposure. It's about you trying to prove that he's not living the life that he claims that he's living. Now, in regards to the Deflategate issue, someone could try to use that and say, well, for Tom Brady to act like he did not know that the balls were being deflated, that's him being disingenuous. I don't believe that. But in regards to this issue, no.
He portrayed that he was the model husband and father.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you.
So are you saying Tom Brady is nothing like what he's portraying? Is that what you're saying?
All I'm saying is he wants to show you a glimpse because he wants to peddle something. The kid's in pajamas, he in a coat, he in a jacket. Where they do that at? I mean, I like to dress up, but when I see
in the Brady house.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But anyway, I bet he does. I guess he got a place in Sag Harbor. I don't know. He did join Brooklyn.
So I want to get this on record. You're saying Tom Brady is a phony.
Is
that what you're saying?
I said what I said.
I hope this gets back to Tom Brady today.
Now, look, Shannon now is starting to understand that he did not properly think out his attempt at a point. So now he's saying, I said what I said. No, you don't seem to understand what fake means in the context of the allegations that you're levying against Tom Brady, brother. So you should be a little bit more careful with your sentiments as well as your words on national television when you call somebody fake, and then when you try to substantiate it, you're unable to. Now, he tried to compare Tom Brady to Tiger Woods, and Skip Bayless accurately asked Shannon, are you saying that Tom Brady's not living the life that he says he's living? Now, once you're asked that type of question, you have to respond back with the affirmative and prove it. If you can't prove it, then you should not make that assertion.
Because tonight he will go to bed thinking,
Why you gonna show me, Skip? I ain't bothering nobody.
So, we have a documentary here that's being done by the son of Deepak Chopra, who's a longtime New Age author.
It is guru of meditation and holistic.
And the son's name is Gotham Chopra, who grew up a Patriot fan in Massachusetts, and he is very interested in the spiritual side of sports. So he convinced Tom Brady that he would like to do a documentary, and it has the perfect little title. It's just so pithy. It just sums it up. Tom versus time. That's his whole life. His whole football life is Tom versus time.
And just to cut in for a moment, you notice that this film is being directed by the son of Deepak Chopra. Now, please keep in mind that Tom Brady, as we all know, is not someone who lets people into his life unless there's a reason, unless there's some form of a connection. As I've stated in the past, in the entertainment industry, probably the biggest spiritual system, belief system, or spiritual following is Buddhism. At least overtly. Behind the scenes, we know it's Luciferianism. But overtly, many of these athletes and entertainers are Buddhists.
As in the one undefeated force in this universe, according to Shannon Sharp, Father Time.
Yeah,
am I right?
Undefeated.
Undefeated. Except Tom Brady's stiff-arming Father Time because at age 40, he's about to win the Most Valuable Player award in the National Football League. Impossible. Unheard of. How's he doing that? Well, he's become a fitness zealot. He believes in his trainer and his trainer's fitness philosophy called pliability. So he is willing to share all of the secrets, man. He's just laying it out. He did a book, and now he's doing a documentary.
And that normally is, you'll normally see that in athletes who are extremely comfortable in their own skin. I touched on this earlier with Steph Curry, who was coming out with the video showing all of his training techniques. Many of these athletes get to a stage where they say to themselves, if I were to die today, my legacy is set. I'm an all-time great. I'm a Hall of Famer. I will always be remembered. So now I can start to capitalize on the information that people really want to know, which is how did I get to where I'm at? So I'll lay it all out there for them. I'm not going to give them every secret. You know, even a martial arts master does not teach his students every move. He'll teach them enough for them to get proficient enough for them to look at him as a master, but they're not going to teach that person every move because you never know what could happen. You may have to fight that student one day. Same thing with Brady or Steph Curry. They're going to show you enough for the student to say, "Oh wow, that's great. Okay, that's how he got that good." But they're going to hold off some drills for themselves in case they're in a dire situation where they have to win and they have a little edge on their opponent. But that's the stage where Tom is in right now. He's just ready to transition over to something else, and he's preparing himself for another life where he's going to be a pitchman, and there's nothing wrong with that.
This is how I'm defeating Father Time so far. Now, you say, oh, it's not going to last much longer. He says he's going to play until 45. Who's going to be wrong? When it comes to Tom Brady, that's the one guy in sports I don't bet against.
I'm betting with Father Time. I'm putting all my chips on Father Time.
So the point is that this is vintage, just real, raw Tom Brady. He's showing you who he is. This is where he lives. He is a fitness zealot. It's become spiritual to him. And again, the one thing I don't love about any athlete later in his career is when he starts talking about, and there's a quote that I saw in the press release about, yeah, it's time for me to think about the whys of life. Well, you know, in your game, if you start sitting back thinking about the whys of life, it's not a good thing to let those thoughts go in your head, because you'll finally wake up one morning and say, what am I doing? What am I doing? I've had some near concussions or maybe some concussions, and I've got this, I've got an Achilles problem, I've had a left shoulder problem all year. You're just going to get banged up because that's the nature of the beast.
All that is possible, but it's also possible that when he says that he starts to think about the whys of life, that makes him even more galvanized to succeed in sports or at football, because he's asking himself why he's playing, and he's answering in the affirmative, that he loves it, that this is his passion. So that's a double-edged sword. Sometimes people do start to think about the whys of life right before they're about to transition into something new. And sometimes people ask why, in regards to why do I love this so much, and why am I so gifted in this? And they can answer themselves in a way that can motivate them to ascend to even greater heights. So, I mean, if I were a Patriots fan or a Tom Brady fan, I would not have any suspicion or any fear that he's at a moment in his life where he's no longer motivated. He clearly still is.
I know why Tom Brady's played this long. He's been very fortunate. God has blessed him. Tom Brady's had one severe injury that put him out for the entire season. But he hasn't had the back injury that caused him to miss 2 games. He hadn't had the shoulder or the ankle that caused him to miss a game or here or there.
And all that is thanks to his trainer, the same trainer that everyone wants to poo-poo and act like he hasn't had any effect. It's very clear that whoever this trainer is, Alex, that he's doing a great job and that he's very knowledgeable. But because he does not use conventional techniques, as usual in Western society, when they see someone using Eastern techniques to heal, there's always this level of suspicion, because in Western society, everything is meant to be hard and rough and incisive. You know, cut the body open, mess with the organs, mess with the muscles, mess with the tendons. In the Eastern forms of body healing, everything is about massage and heat and, you know, understanding nerve centers and things like that. So there's a great deal there's a nebulous nature to what Tom Brady's trainer does. And that's what all this is really about. This is like a clash. It's like a culture clash between East and West. And that's why it's not surprising to me that Tom Brady chose Deepak Chopra's son to direct the Facebook television show, or the Facebook documentary, I should say, because that once again is showing that Tom Brady's mind is more aligned towards Eastern modes of thought. So it would not shock me if he comes out as a Buddhist in the near future.
There, skill, pliability. I get all that pliability. Well, hell, Misty Copeland should play in the NFL because she's very flexible.
Well, you wish you had had pliability. You might still be playing.
I tell you what, I bet you everything I got in my bank account than what Tom Brady got, that I'm more flexible than Tom Brady. Put something on that.
I'll put that on it right now. That's absurd.
I bet you.
Shannon,
I bet you.
don't let Skip gas you up right now.
Don't let Tom Brady be bankrupt. Well, not bankrupt because he got.
You're more flexible than
Yes.
him. Have you seen him lately? He's bragging about how little his biceps are because they've gone from this to long biceps. He says, I don't even have a bicep anymore.
You can do a split right now.
Not these pants. But I get close. I get close. I mean, it will be a split.
You know, you just.
Ain't nobody trying to see your big black ass do no damn splits, Shannon. Just let the segment run out, because it's starting to get ridiculous now. Put money on it. I can do a damn split. Me, LeBron, and Savannah, we do splits. Okay?
You just reek of jealousy of Tom Brady.
Skip.
It just reeks.
Skip.
I can smell it across the table.
Skip. I'm very secure in my. Because here's the thing with Shannon. I told you, I got what most people will never have. Enough.
You just went third person on Shannon?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
that sums it up.
I'm good with where I am in my life and what I've been able to accomplish. That's why I don't begrudge anyone, because I know where I came from. So I look at everybody else's path and I'm like, okay, I can relate somewhat to that. Jealousy is never going to be my thing.
And that's why I stated that I don't believe that Shannon's motivation behind his stance on Tom Brady is based in jealousy. I think that it's just based in some type of hyper-competitive outlook on Tom, where he's going to be utilizing an extreme amount of scrutiny on Tom Brady. I mean, most great athletes, period, they have a high level of suspicion on other great athletes that they're not as good as advertised. So Shannon's outlook, his view, his perspective is more of a carryover from his playing days.
I'm good. I'm happy for him. You play this game, if you play 2 years, you should feel privileged. You start getting to 5, 10, 15, and here's Tom going in his 18th season, what's there to be jealous of? You make it seem like I didn't accomplish nothing when I played.
I agree. It'd be one thing if Shannon was like a backup tight end. Shannon's probably the most successful tight end in NFL history overall. When you look at the fact that he retired as an all-time leader in catches, yards, touchdowns, and won 3 Super Bowls on 2 different teams. There's no doubt that he was an essential player on every team that he was on. So he doesn't have a reason to be jealous of Tom Brady. And I don't believe that he is. But there's something there.
You accomplished a little bit, but not like this. So here's the point. As much as I don't love the introspection involved in this documentary, I just told you why, because you can't start asking why. But I do love this fact that came out, because this is why you stopped. You told me it wasn't really your body breaking down. It was, you just got tired of the process.
Yes, I did.
The meetings,
Yes.
the study,
That's it. That's what
on
I
and on and on. You just, the new game plan. And yet Tom Brady says in this documentary that he gets so fascinated with watching game tape that he can sit at home for 4 or 5 straight hours without moving, watching game tape, because he's just on fire with it.
I'm not surprised. He's somebody who has a passion for what he's doing in his life. And that's why he's so successful. Once again, brothers, you got to find what you're passionate about and gifted in and pursue it.
And he calls Josh McDaniels late at night. I got something. I got an idea. Well, as long as that fire is raging within him, he's good. You know it and I know it.
Well, he's good until he takes that big blow. And that is why his form of conditioning is very important. And that's why I don't poo-poo him when he talks about pliability, because he does have to be, proverbially speaking, like a bamboo. In heavy storms, the bamboo doesn't break, it just bends because it's pliable. Now, when you're the stiff oak tree and that heavy storm comes, the oak tree is going to get uprooted because it's too stiff. Many of these people, they get hurt, like Peyton Manning. He got hurt because he was just stiff. And overall, mentally, Peyton Manning was stiff. Everything about him was so robotic. That's why it was not surprising to me when he got the bad back and the neck injuries and stuff, because he was just so stiff. Mentally, he was stiff, and that trickled down to his body. Because your mental outlook is directly aligned to your nervous system. Your nervous system's all tightened up, and it makes your muscles tighten up. Brady's much more loose. So it's going to be harder for him, not impossible, obviously, but harder for him to sustain a debilitating injury that, that's going to be based in stiffness or breakage, because he trains his body and his mind to be loose.
It, right?
Yeah.
Because most quarterbacks are going to burn out at 38. They're going to say, I'm sick of this.
I know a guy that was still burning at 39 and still was watching a film 6 hours a day. Peyton Manning, his body just failed him. He still loved it, and that's what's going to happen.
Maybe he needed pliability. Peyton Manning.
I agree.
Maybe? Seriously.
First of all, Skip, let's be real. You look at quarterbacks, and with the exception of Cam Newton, none of them have muscles. This is not unique to Tom Brady.
Yeah, but that's not the issue, Shannon. The issue is not necessarily big muscles. The issue is training your body to be pliable, meaning to be malleable, to be bendable, to be able to sustain shockage. All right, impact. You know, to train your body to be more of a shock absorber than to get rigid. When you have that rigidity, that's what leads to breakage and tears and things like that. That's the issue. It's not really so much about big muscles.
You look at the upper body of all quarterbacks. They got narrow shoulders. They have no muscles because what they need to throw the football is elasticity. So this is not unique to Tom Brady.
Well, that's true, but just because they have elasticity in their arm doesn't mean that they have it throughout their whole body. Look at where I freeze framed it. This is a good freeze frame for his black ass. Skip.
Brady, pliability. Joy, I can't even believe you, Joy Taylor. That Skip Bayless got you up here gassed up believing it, Tom.
Now look at Joy Taylor. This is part of what I'm talking about when I talk about the female in the workplace. Look at how she's dressed. Is she dressed to mediate or moderate a sports debate? Or is she dressed to lead a man into some large bedroom and service him? Like, come on, what the hell's going on? This bro got both her tickle bitties exposed and look like they rubbed down with some type of oil. Shannon spends half the show looking at her breasts. Okay, Skip. I mean, let's take a breast. I mean, let's take a rest.
Tom Brady.
I'm not flexible at all.
We know that.
I don't know about that. I think that Shannon would say different. Joy, why you lying? I had one leg up over my head last night. Just stop the lying. Stop the bullshit.
We know you the fifth post.
What are you talking about? You're more flexible than Tom Brady.
I'm more flexible, meaning...
How are we going to prove that?
Meaning I can get in more uncomfortable positions at a greater degree.
Now it's a yoga.
Yeah. Me, LeBron, and Shavannah, we write our own Kama Sutra. Okay? It's called La Shannon Sutra. I can get my leg up behind my ear, Skip. Where did we go to commercial? I'm going to show you how I done. You know? Me, LeBron, and Savannah, we get our freak on. You know? We do, crouching tiger, hitting football.
Yoga thing.
Doc, how else do you measure flexibility, Joy?
Yoga thing.
Let me ask you a question. How else do you measure flexibility?
I do hot yoga too.
I ain't got to get no hot yoga.
No?
I can sit down there right now and put my face on the floor.
Pause. Pause with a capital P.
That's what I can do right now.
Yeah,
I don't need no hot yoga.
You're only flexibility.
But anyway, I'm going to end it with LaShannon's revelation about his flexibility. And that's pretty much it on this issue. All right? So peace.